everybody please stand for the national?
Wait, okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Go Tigers.
All right, Joe. Thank you, Joe. That was Joe St. John for all you folks. He started the committee so many years ago, and he's relinquishing some of all the work that he does for us, and he's a wonderful guy. We're hoping we could fill his shoes, so thank you, Joe. He also wrote this mission statement that I'm going to say, we say at the beginning of all our meetings. It's our mission statement. It says the St. Clair Shores Waterfront Environmental Committee is committed to the conservation, protection, safe use, and enjoyment of Lake Sinclair for current and future generations. So that's one of the things that we really try to focus on, just because, you know, it's not just for us, it's for everybody that lives in St. Clair Shores, and we find out we get so much more input with all the kids and students that are working with us, and we really appreciate their help. We're going to do some scholarships at the very end of the meeting here. It really makes our committee whole by having the students getting involved with us. So thank you so much on that. Here's a little bit of agenda. This also becomes in essence, our list of items that we want to accomplish throughout the year. It's our goals and our mission, which we want to for sure thank our contributors. That Erin's going to come up for the Treasury report. She's going to be doing the I-94 Expressway too. Just want to introduce Erin.
Alrighty. Hello.
Sure.
We're going quick.
Go ahead.
So you want me to start off right now? All right, wonderful. Okay, perfect. I thought we were going to be doing some introductions and everything, but this is okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Erin Stahl. I'm the treasurer for the Waterfront Environmental Committee. And as you can see on the first slide, during the year, we had revenue of $8,850.60. We sold 82 rain barrels, and since the program started in 2013, we've sold 362 rain barrels with the help of City Hall and DPW. Some other revenue is from the City of St. Clair Shores, the corporate grant, also donations from Loretta Lorenzo and Darlene Weber. We also had expenses of $7,776.05 to purchase rain barrels and T-shirts and tools for the Nautical Coast cleanup, and also our coloring book and rack cards, which make sure you grab one of those. It has all of our events in it, and the coloring book, activity book. It has all of our wonderful programs that you're going to be hearing about today. We also renewed our website and domain names, and as well as some office supplies. Now, what this report doesn't show is, in our ending balance, as you can see, $10,215.49. And again, what this financial report doesn't show is the $1,500 donated by very special individuals for our student scholarships, and it doesn't show the time, money, and talents donated by our committee members, our volunteers, and also the city staff. And what it also doesn't show is the $8,000 in donations for food, services, and supplies that makes the Nautical Coast cleanup possible. If you can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So this brings us to our contributors, our wonderful, wonderful contributors. These are the people and organizations that help support our projects through their time, money, goods, and services donated. I've already mentioned a lot of them, and our scholarship donors, you'll meet them at the end of the meeting. but I wanted to point out for the Nautical Coast cleanup, Jefferson Yacht Club, Chicken Shack, Tubby's, Subs, GFL, Advanced Aquatics Dive Shop, Journey's End, Golden Donuts. I mean, again, Dell Printing, Allegra, MDOT, all of these different wonderful groups. We couldn't do it without them. And lastly, I'd like to acknowledge Tom Cleaver from the We Are Here Foundation for his tremendous support over the years. And this year, we want to thank him for providing each one of our student scholarship winners with an iPad, which is amazing, so thank you. So for all of our contributors and Tom Cleaver with his generous donation, if we can give them all a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. And now I'll go right on into the I-94 ramp cleanup. This is 2020 is our 15th year for this project. I can't believe it. It's actually a labor of love for me. And if you go to the next slide, please. This is a satellite view of 9 Mile and 10 Mile. In red is where we actually clean. So it's like a very small area. It's just the ramps. Next slide, please. In red, again, are the cleanup areas at 11 and 12 Mile. Now, we do this project to give the best first impression to our visitors to St. Clair Shores, to beautify the entrances, and because we have a whole lot of pride in our community, St. Clair Shores. And we also help prevent the debris from going into the storm drains. Now, if you pull up to that light when you come up onto the ramp and you look down and see, to the right and left, see those storm drains? Those drains go directly into Lake St. Clair. And so our volunteers, we clean it up, trying to prevent a lot of that debris from going in. Next slide, please. So this is just from 2012 to current. And in the last column, you can see this year we had 6 cleanup days, and we had 75 tremendous volunteers picking up 121 bags of trash and recyclables. And each volunteer, bless their heart, picked up a bag and a half of trash on their own. And this year, I just wanted to acknowledge Mark Ballin, our chairperson for the Waterfront Environmental Committee, and Joe St. John, our chair emeritus. Our last cleanup in October, I was stuck in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and between the two of them, they got the supplies from my house and just took care of all of the volunteers. And, that's the kind of committee that we have. All of these different projects, it might be one person putting it on, but the whole committee comes together and just, whatever is needed for the community, for the volunteers, they're right there for us. So here's to another, year 15, and hope to see you on the second Saturday of the month, May through October at 10 a.m. And again, I just wanted to acknowledge all of our volunteers, Mark and Joe, with another round of applause. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Aaron. You do a great job, too. I got to tell you, you probably put more time in than anybody else on the committee, so thank you so much for all you do. She organizes us all, and especially she donates every month a Saturday, and it's many hours. Sometimes it's really sweaty on the freeways and so on and so forth, but it really makes a big difference because all that garbage and trash will go to the storm drains, and then they go right to Lake St. Clair. And not many people realize this, but you think about 696 and I-94, that area, that's probably the largest drainage district that goes directly into St. Clair Shores. Just think about all the water that's going down there, and all that area goes right through St. Clair Shores into into the lake. So we appreciate that very much. But boy, I just want to make sure, you guys, do we love St. Clair or what? This is a slide. I wanted to bring your attention because, I mean, I love living in St. Clair Shores. I know you guys all do too. And you know, every time I write out the address or I tell people I'm in St. Clair Shores, I'm like, I am. We live in St. Clair Shores. It's right on Lake Sinclair. So how else could we be so fortunate that we always love this and we really want to make it the best we can for future and current generations. So thank you very much for everybody. This is a slide that we have here. Dave Rebello normally handles this part of the presentation, but he just called about 20 minutes ago and has the flu, so he couldn't make it today. He really wanted to make it. But this is a really cool thing that he kind of put together with us. This is called the kiosk. And we have 3 of these kiosks throughout the city. Primarily, they're at Jefferson Beach as well as Blossom Heath. And with all the developments that are going to happen at Blossom Heath, we really like to have these kiosks to show what is Lake Sinclair for us. And this particular one, you can't believe the number of fish that are on this. And you could take your kids, your grandkids, even adults would really find this an interesting little kiosk that will talk about Lake Sinclair, what fish are there. And I know Aaron even has this in our little coloring book that we put together. So it's just a wonderful thing that we put together, and we love St. Clair, Lake Sinclair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to float this right over. But before I do, I want to identify some of the dignitaries that are here today. And we appreciate Mayor Kip Walby is in the audience today. Thank you so much for coming, Mitch. Kip. And we got Kevin Hertel over there. He's one of our scholarship donors. And we got Superintendent Paulson in the back of the room there as well. We appreciate you coming. I know you really feed a lot of our students to us, and you support the principals working with us. I know they're always doing announcements for us and everything else. We appreciate it. And we got Councilman Karen in the back as well today. We have, if I missed anybody, let me know. We will also have Peter Lucino. He's going to be coming. He just is driving back from Lansing. He said he'll be about 15 minutes late, but he's going to be here to give us a really nice discussion about what we can do and what they can do for us to help keep the lake clean. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mike. He's really good at getting involved with our committee. He's pretty new to the committee, but he's really active. You can see he's on the agenda everywhere. So,
just a few places. Doesn't mean I'm going to talk the longest, though. Thanks, Mark. Okay, do I sound any better? I think I hear myself now, but all right. But you still got the intro, right? 25 years. So the connection is this cleanup's been going on as long as the committee. Well, guess what? Did y'all know the committee existed because this cleanup was put together? So with that history, I'm proud to say that I'm taking over the reins as the director of the cleanup this year. And I really appreciate the opportunity, and Joe doesn't want to say anything, but thanks, Joe. Because of you put this all together, and you've given me the opportunity. Yeah, and I've only been a resident here just for a few years. I was stationed over at Selfridge as an active duty Marine, and now I am a civilian going back into the reserve, or whatever the case. This is home, so thank you for allowing me to call this home as well. Okay, enough of that. So today, this year is the 25th year. If you all have participated, and certainly if you all have been around here, you know almost 400 participants come together, and we get together on the best time of year, right? When things start warming up, and we're getting all excited for the summer. And I'd like to think most people come out there because we're cleaning up the shoreline, but maybe people are just also a little excited to get outside. But whatever the case, we got a big attendance out there. The public beaches are cleaned up, swept up, and the shorelines, of course, some of the trickier parts is getting all the trash that's in the rocks and everything that's collected there as a result of coming down throughout the winter. And of course, we want to clean this up and enjoy it for the rest of the summer. Not only do the citizens come and clean the public spaces, but it's an opportunity for the homeowners to clean up their spots if they're along the river, excuse me, the lake, and we provide the pickup for the larger items for that weekend. So, next slide, please. Okay, so here are the results from last year. A lot of stuff. And so when you bring together 400 folks, you're going to pick up a lot of stuff. So we got 20 yard dumpsters, 4 of them, that get filled up and take up all the trash that's been collected there throughout the winter. And that equals to about 38 tons of debris. And you'll see that over several years, we're approaching nearly 1,000 tons. And again, that's from all the shorelines and the coast. The beaches. Of the volunteers, again, it's residents, a lot of students from the high schools, almost 70 foreign students as well. That's a pretty interesting figure. HOAs are committed, are asked to participate and encouraged as well, and the homeowners. Next slide, please. So what's also unique about this past year is because of the high water levels, we put some sandbags together. If there's one thing that this event does is bring everyone together, and we got a lot of volunteers, and so we had them fill up some sandbags and help out some of the elderly that couldn't do it themselves. Of course, and they were also made available to the homeowners. Okay, on that, next slide, please. Yep, there you go. So this year it's going to be 17 May, always on a Sunday, right before Memorial Day. And see again, 795 tons of debris removed after 24 years. And just really quickly want to thank the mayor and city council, Macomb County Public Works for helping out with dumpsters and transportation and whatnot. Okay, next slide. All right, so this is a new program that we're looking to stand up this year. I'm an avid boater, and because of my passion out in the water, I wanted to get involved with this committee. And one thing I've always questioned is, what do we do with all of this shrink wrap? It's a lot. We're talking tons and tons of shrink wrap that doesn't get recycled, goes straight to the dump. And I've been asking around, and there is no program around here that exists. Now, however, there are many programs around the U.S. and in other parts of Michigan, but not here in southeast Michigan. Now, why can't we do that? We got a team. We have a day to do that. We got a lot of volunteers. Now, the challenge, as it is with any recycling program, is contamination. Right? If it's dirty, if it's got mixed materials in there, it's hard to recycle it properly. Now, no different than shrink wrap. You got nylon straps in there. You got plastic pieces. You got zippers. And all right, labor intensive. You can't just throw that away. It's got to be separated. And so, hey, again, we got a lot of volunteers. Why don't we stand up a program? Now, the details still have to be worked out, but the good news is, again, there are a lot of programs around the U.S. and Michigan. So it's either a matter of just piggybacking off of one of them or participate in individual recycling programs, which is the easy answer. But let's see if we can bring some folks together here in the community. So we look forward to sharing more with you on this program that we're going to start this year. Next slide. Okay, so that concludes the cleanup portion, the cleanup event here this coming May. The other program that I've had the privilege of taking over is the storm drain stenciling program. And again, Joe's been a big part of this. Thank you, Joe, for continuing to help us in this program, because there's a lot of children, a lot of students that participate in this program, and it helps to have as many participants as we can. So the purpose of it is to generate awareness. The storm drains go right into the lake, and so it's quite obvious what the problem there is if we don't use them properly. So we have these stencils that you can see down there in the bottom right, says no dumping, drains the lake. We encourage the proper use of that and care for care for our lake, because this stuff goes straight in from the storm drains. In addition to spreading awareness through those stencils, is we have these door hangers, and we'll put them on the doors, especially in the nearby houses that we're spray painting the curbs. Okay, so just like the cleanup, it's a community activity, and what's nice about this is when you spray one of those down and you're driving by, you get to see, hey, I did that. Okay, all right. Some of the notable participants: Lakeview High School, a teacher rounded up a bunch of the students out there, and also Scout Troop 273, led by Eagle Scout Noah. And what he did was extraordinary, more so than some of the other folks that participated, is from the VFW Bruce Post all the way to Grosse Pointe Woods Lake, and spent all day doing that. So that's some good work done by a young man. And beyond those two groups, a lot of individuals come out and do this as well. But the list is long. So again, I'm proud to take over that program as well. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the time. I think that's my last slide. Mark? Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Mike. Way to fill in. Take it over, kick some butt. So thank you. Matter of fact, I think, how many people did we have at the cleanup this year?
400.
400 people. I think, we want more than that this year. I think we're going to try to get at least 1,000 this year. How about that?
Sounds good.
We got to really get them. That's our biggest event of the year, the beach cleanup. We get so much trash. It's an incredible event. And there's a lot of donors here that have helped us. Brian Massey's given us food, as well as Mr. Cleaver back in the back of the room. So we really appreciate that too. So what we're going to do is we're going to, now that we got all our members here, I do want to do a little introduction for, you all met Aaron already. You met Mike. Wanted to introduce Eric here. You want to say something, Eric?
I'm Eric Eggert, been on the committee since 2001, and I do the social media for the committee.
Thank you. Because we all love Lake Sinclair. Let's see. Oh, Gail, we have Gail Ashburn back here. She's a wonderful teacher, advocate for us. You want to just say a word for us here?
All right, let's see. Who else is over here? You all met Joe. You're going to meet Sarah here. You want to say something, Sarah?
Sure. Hi, I'm Sarah Schultz. I was an alternate member for a couple years, and I just became a full member on the committee. And I'm going to be doing some mini beach cleanups and hopefully rain garden installations.
Great. Thank you. And we got one of our experienced members right here, Peter. We'll have you up in a minute.
Yeah, Peter McInnes. I've been running the monofilament for I don't know how many years now, quite a few, where we have recycled tons, tons maybe exaggerating, because monofilament doesn't wear that much, but I have recycled huge boxes at least once a year just from St. Clair shores.
We'll be back to you. Heidi always mans a table way outside the room here, and I just want to make sure she becomes part of this. She's our treasurer. Say a word, Heidi. Come on in here. Come on in here. All right.
Hello, I'm Heidi McInnes, the secretary of the committee, and I also work on the scholarship project.
All right. Thank you, Heidi. And we got Kevin. He'll be talking a little bit from now, but just wanted to introduce him here on the committee.
Sure. Thank you, Mark. Kevin Hertel, serve as a state representative for our district here in St. Clair Shores, but also have been on this committee since, I believe, 2010. So it's always been an honor to serve. Thank you.
It's really important that we get a lot of resource members on this committee because we always need help. You know, we're all volunteers, and we got 7, 9 of us, some alternate members, and it's great to have people like Kevin and everybody in the room here, because you really help us out, get things done, and pull in some of our resources. We got Brian Babcock in the back there, as well as we have the head of the Parks and Rec. I thought I saw him. Maybe you step back out, but all right. Well, what we're going to do now. Oh. So what we're going to do now, we're going to bring Eric back up here to talk about our Facebook. He's been running this for a long time. Come on up, Eric. And this is so important, and we need some of the young people out there to help us. I know we got one of our scholarship winners is expert at this. She might tell us a little bit about it later, but you want to tell us where we're at on this? Here, you got this.
Good evening again. This year, we've reached over 1,300 followers. We get a big boost around our Nautical Coast cleanup, where we get people from around, not just St. Clair Shores, but around Roseville, Grosse Pointe, Harrison Township, as far away as Chesterfield, contact us in regards to our cleanup and want to know how they can get involved. I'm already starting to get field questions on there for the cleanup. That is one of the biggest attractions that we need is through social media, is we want to make awareness. That's what our group is for. So we want to get as many people to react to our events, to our posts, and also to make comments, because they don't, without feedback, we wouldn't exist. But we're always looking for feedback and trying to make reaches. For example, today, our event for today reached, in a matter of a week, reached over 3,000 people, which isn't bad. And it was shared over 50 times in 2 days. So, and we also have the website, and we get quite a few hits on a daily basis in contacts from other groups. Through this year especially, we've had a lot of students kind of as contact and want Joe or Mark give them testimonials or interviews for the projects. I know Joe would have more to say about that, but we do get a lot of contact through there, and it's not just our community. We're reaching farther than our community, and we're looking to get even farther this year.
All right, thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. One of the other things I really wanted to identify about our committee, which is really cool, is, we really hit many generations with our committee. We have women, we have men, we have students, we have retired people. It's a wonderful group of people. I can't believe we have so much input from everybody, and everybody really provides a lot of input because they bring a lot of friends, a lot of knowledge to the meeting, so it's really great. Now we're going to talk about the kayak program. I'm going to have Dan Corvair come up here. We used to have Christian, who's also on the committee. He used to run this program for us for many years. We needed a little bit of more help, so we're going to have Dan talk about what he's been doing, and I'll be here to help him out a little bit, but he doesn't need any help. He's got it all handled, although this is my kayak here, but that's about it.
Thanks, Mark. So my name's Daniel Cuvier. In 2018, I thru-hiked the Appalachian Trail with my brother Anthony, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, to raise awareness and funds on the local water quality issues that have been degrading Lake St. Clair. But today, I'm sorry, I was put in touch with Joe St. John, and I decided to, with the funds that we raised, my brother and myself, have been donating scholarships every year. Actually, this is our second year now. But now Mark Ballin had me take over the Kayak Grant Initiative, which I'd like to let you guys know about. So we have a corporate sponsor who contributes towards the cost of the kayaks and canoes, and they've been placed at Lakeview, Lakeshore, South Lake, and North Lake. Basically, it's an incentive program to get the students who volunteer at the Nautical Coast cleanup, the I-94 cleanups, and the storm drain stenciling to reward them for their time in their community service. So the students who accumulate the most community service hours through the program are eligible to apply for a kayak, and the students who from each high school who accumulate the most hours win the kayak at the end of the year in May. I think that's about, as of right now, that's... Oh, sure, yeah. So I have spoken with Gail Ashburn from Southlake, who has their kayak on display in the hallway, which I think is very important because all of the students can see it every day. It's a constant reminder of that the committee exists and there's opportunities within the city to volunteer your time. I went to Lakeshore and spoke to Todd Stevens. I was not able to locate the kayak at the time that day, but it is there. And same with Lakeview High School. I spoke with Vice Principal Huber, and there is a kayak there as well. But basically, I'd like to keep going back to the schools and finding out if there have been any applicants and/or to speak with the students if we can, just to let them know, just to remind them that the kayak program exists and that they could be rewarded for their time. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Dan. Yeah, we really believe, again, this kayak program is really important because, you know, we want to be able to use kayaks so that more people could get on Lake Sinclair. We believe that's really key to our programs. Again, we're volunteers trying to come up with programs that people could use the lake so we can enjoy it and understand it so that we keep it clean and we can all put some time and effort helping to clean it up and use it. And I think because we love St. Clair. We love Lake Sinclair. We love it. And then now we're going to talk about the monofilament line. Peter, could you come up?
You think I need a mic? Never did before.
Yeah, it's a good thing to have. You want me to hold it for you, or you all right?
I'm eating up my 2 minutes here. I don't want to sit
Take
there
as
and
much
wait.
time as you want.
I'm allowed 2 minutes. Everybody else got 10 or 20. I get 2 minutes.
All right.
Get your hand out of my way. All right, let's start out with basically what is monofilament. Monofilament is a fiber that's made very, very common. You find it at fishing lines. That's where you see the monofilament. But the problem with monofilament, it has a tremendous shelf life and a tremendous life after you use it. 600 years in a landfill. That's how long it takes to get rid of it. I've got some pamphlets out there that I made up several years ago when I was with Shorewood Kiwanis. I've been with Shorewood, I've been with Lakeshore. I leave here tonight to go with something I'm really looking forward to. Right up the street of the Masonic Hall, we're honoring the veterans coming back with a spaghetti dinner. This goes to the dry cleaners tomorrow. Okay, I want to read something my wife put together. If it wasn't for her, you wouldn't have this. She goes back and digs through all my paperwork that I've put together and concised it down to, she says, you should be able to get this done in 2 minutes. I don't know if we can or not, but let's find out. This is called the Fishing Line Recycling Program. It's a catchy little word for recycling monofilament line. Now, what do we do with it? Why do we recycle it? How do we recycle it? That's it. The Waterfront Environmental Committee, with the financial help from Shorewood Kiwanis, has brought the monofilament fishing line recycling program to St. Clair Shores. The idea was brought to our committee at St. Clair Shores, a St. Clair Shores resident, Jackie Gibbart. She went to Florida every year, and she saw these in Florida. It was spearheaded by me. I brought it back, took it to the committee at Shorewood at that point in time, and says, every new member that joins Kiwanis is encouraged to do a project for the benefit of the committee. It could be anything. Mine happened to be this one. Discarded monofilament fishing line is a threat to both fish and wildlife, not to mention boat propellers, birds, especially can get tangled up in discarded line, which can lead to slow death. How do we do that? Well, we eat a sandwich. We're very conscious of what goes on. So we take it to the local 55-gallon drum and we throw it in there for cleanup. And right behind it, the guy comes with a bunch of monofilament line. He's very conscious. He throws it in the 55-gallon drum. And along comes the seagull. He dives in there, gets the sandwich, gets tangled into the monofilament line. And if you notice when you first came in, I've got a poster board out there and I've got information. This is what happens to the fish that gets tangled up. This fish obviously died. We get turtles, we get ducks, we get all kinds of animals all over the world get tangled in this stuff. And these are the monofilaments that I've put in. These were put in 07, okay? You got a poster board out there you want to look at. If you want some good information, you can remember I have got these folders made up. It gives you lasting 600 years in an aquatic environment. Has already recycled, this is pure fishing, has already recycled 100 million miles of monofilament line. Discarded fishing line can be trash containers, can be removed by animals, which can endanger them. To date, there are over 15,000 monofilament recycling containers in the U.S. alone. Michigan has 64,980 inland lakes and ponds where this can be used. This is not a Michigan project. This is not a United States project. This is worldwide. Down in Australia, New Zealand, wherever, anywhere you have fishing, they put this project in use. Going on to what my wife did here, how much I got left? A minute and a half? At the present time, the Waterfront Environmental Committee has installed an outdoor PVC recycling station at 3 separate locations. Foot of 9 Mile, Blossom Heath, and Fishing Pier, the Veterans Memorial Park fishing area. Other collection sites will be selected in the future. I've also sent out to other companies, other localities. I've made it for them, and it tells you here, anybody's interested, we can give you the dimensions on how to make your own, or I've got some that I've already made up. 1990, Berkeley, a fishing supplier manufacturer out of Iowa, has recycled over 100 million miles of fishing line discarded by fishermen. To date, over 15,000 recycling collection bins have been installed throughout the United States. The recycling line is used to manufacture products other than the fishing line. One of the things they make out of it is a plastic tube deal, which are used for the fish habitat for the fish to breed in. Supports from other big fish eating the small fish. Small fish supports bigger fish, and we have more fish for fishing. What a cycle. Recycling stations are made from white 6-inch PVC pipes, 3 foot tall. A scientifically describes the program as part of the recycling station. The recycling bins will be periodically cleaned out by Lakeview High School green team. That's me. I'm the only one that does it.
He's looking for some volunteers. Just come on, join the committee.
Try joining us and protect. If you're a fisherman, or you don't have to be a fisherman, you just like a clean beach. And our mayor went down behind here, last fall, and he got way out to the point where I couldn't get out to, so I had never put a bin out there. And when he was out there, his son, I believe it was your son, went out there and you saw the monofilament on the ground? He got a hold of the park manager and says, get a hold of Peter, I need bins. I happen to have a couple already made up. We put 2 more out there to get it off the ground. If you go fishing anywhere, you'll notice that you're going to run into monofilament. And like I say, you're talking about a whole lot. Are you going to run me my slides now? Okay. We're done. No, we're not. You told me I had slides to run. Run my slides. Well, this is this is the tabs that we put on. This is ours. This is me recycling some right there. It gives you an idea what the story is and what kind of recycling. We can take the whole spool of the monofilament, or just the line itself. The one thing I see happening, it really is not really nice. Fishing line gets old, so you want to clean out the spools. So I've seen fishermen go out there and tie a buoy to something, to the line, pop it over the side, and let this 100 yards or so of line spill out behind the boat, and then they just cut it off. So I now have 100 yards or more of monofilament line floating out there, which will get down, and how many animals it's going to kill, I don't know, but it's going to be a bunch of them. If you see some of the damage that I've seen, the turtles, when they open the turtles up, the turtle died because it couldn't get any nutrition because the interior of the turtle, from his beak to his rectum, was nothing but one solid mass of monofilament line. And this is all over the world. If you want to do something for the world, pick up the monofilament next time. And don't throw it in the garbage dump. Take it, put it somewhere, throw it at home, take it in a plastic bag. If you take your dog out, you're supposed to take a little plastic bag, and your dog goes to the bathroom, you pick it up. That's a good neighbor. When you go fishing, take a plastic bag. If you see monofilament, pick it up. Don't give it to me. Take it home, put it in somewhere. I'm going to put it in the same place you are. It's going to go out to be recycled, and it's going to be recycled where it can do the most good. Thank you for listening to me. Here, you can have your form back.
We love Lake St. Clair.
Thank you.
All right. Well, while we get Sarah coming up here and Jessica Schneider, we're going to be talking about a couple other projects. Come on up. I wanted to thank Henry Bowman. You can see on these receptacles. It's sponsored by the Parks and Rec, so Henry's helping us to put them out there, and Peter's the one that's collecting all the fishing line out of it. So we appreciate that. We appreciate all that help. So
That's sponsored by the Department of Rec.
all right,
It was put in by me, sponsored by me, and put out with me.
good deal. And then I also wanted to let you guys know we have another ex-student running our projector here. That's my daughter Rachel. She wore a special shirt underneath her other shirt. She's a trash captain at a beach cleanup. All right. So everything's a good thing here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get some of our other members here and one of our student liaisons here to talk about some of our programs here. Go ahead, Sarah.
Okay, thank you. All right. Well, I'm Sarah Schultz, and this year we started to do some mini beach cleanups. We do our large annual cleanup every year, and I noticed a couple months later I'd be at the park and then all the garbage is washing back up on the shore. So I wanted to start just start out small and do something to supplement the cleanup during the year, because it's always constantly washing back up there. So we held 2 in 2019, and then this year we have 2 more scheduled for June and September. Okay, and then next thing that I am interested in is hopefully putting in some rain gardens. Rain gardens it's another way to protect the water of the lake by helping stopping some of the pollution before it reaches the lake. And I'll just kind of go over this quickly. If you don't know what a rain garden is, it's sometimes called a bioswale or rainscaping. And it's a garden that can help capture some of the runoff water and help filter it before it goes into the lake. It can help remove some of the pollutants. And also you would put native plants that also just enhances the habitat too. You can go to the next one. The reason why we need this kind of thing is because our ecosystem has changed a lot. Historically, we had wetlands and things in the area that would help naturally filtrate, and now we've put in a lot of concrete buildings. Grass does not help filter it quite as well. And so the ecosystem is more disconnected. So this can help put that back in place. And the next one is just benefit. There's a lot of benefits of a rain garden. it helps reduce erosion. The roots of the plants help to hold the soil in place, which reduces sediment and nutrient loads. It can help prevent flooding because the water is held in place and slowly moves to the lake. Increases wildlife habitat, and really low maintenance and no cost once they're installed. So, and a rain garden absorbs about 30% more water than grass. So, and then the next one is just a reminder, like you can put them in your house. At your house you can put them anywhere. So consider a rain garden in your yard or in your city. And also, we were going to talk about rain barrels.
Yep.
So do that. Okay.
Actually, we're going to have Jessica talk about the one at Kite Monroe.
Okay.
But again, these are very important programs, and we do know that in all our schools, as they're developing, we may be adding some parking lots in the future. So we're hoping we can put some rain gardens, not a lot of maintenance on them, come up with simple ways rain gardens could be created, and other people can do them in their yards, or if anybody's doing a new development or a new parking lot, as we grow and as we develop, these are simple ideas that we'd like to do. And Jessica, can you explain the one that we have at Kite Monroe that Bill Gamble said, why don't we help them out? And this is a nice one. Go ahead.
Okay, so all right, in 2016 at Kite Monroe, this pervious pavement and bioswales were put in to reduce the runoff, and the capacity is actually 90,000. And you can see in the little picture down there, it's kind of hard to see, but you can see where it's like flooding. And then in the next picture, you can, in there you can see the area, and then in the next picture there was you can see more of the area that was redone, and it was put in with this pervious pavement and the bioswales to Can you go to the next picture? Sorry. And there you can see it helps slow down the runoff and flooding. And so it can just collects the water.
Good. Now we got rain barrels. We're going to cover these all here today. As you can see here, we have a rain barrel. This is one that we have. We kind of took this out of the cashier's office just around the corner. And the good thing about these rain barrels, they cost $58.30. We, as Aaron alluded to in our Treasury report, we have a lot of participation in this, and we would like more of it. The more water we can get into the rain barrels, the less water go down the drains, and the less that would go to the lake. So these are great things that we want to do. Again, we got young people. I know Gail has a couple rain barrels at her school. We're trying to find ways we could put them at the different schools. We think that's another great learning opportunity. And they're really easy to get. All you got to do is go to cashier's office, which is right around the corner. You pay your $58.30, and then you go to the DPW. This is a picture of it at City Hall. Then you go to the DPW, and they got your color. They got blue, they got black, we got this color. It's wonderful. And we thank Brian for storing all these at the DPW. Really nice. It'll take you about 5 minutes to get it. Just give them the receipt and get your rain barrel, and away you go. So those are our programs. We also want to just talk about some other programs that the city has been doing, because we like to talk so the community knows that we're all working hard. I know the DPW is working hard. I don't know if you know that, but the city has 5 street sweepers, and they swept 1,300 miles of street last year. They have 6 operators that can operate full-time, and starting in, they go until about November. And they're hitting all our streets. You could tell all our streets have been nice and clean. And the main reason why I want to do that is we want to get the leaves and debris out of the drains, so that's less material and deciduous material that can flow to the lake. They removed 13,000 tons in 2019. 13,000 tons. That's a lot of sediment. They also cleaned out 600, They cleaned out 600 catch basins. Those are key things because all catch basins have a sump. So we want to get the sludge out of there so that as new water comes through, it falls out into the sump. And that, again, less material goes to the lake. So we're trying to get that black material right there
from stop going into the drain. So we're doing good on that. I just wanted to point out a couple other programs that the county is working on. I don't know if people may not know this, but the county has 8 major drains in St. Clair Shores that they work on. And there's 4 of the largest drains are in this slide here. They have the Hetchler drain, which is to the north, the Lake drain, which is just north of City Hall here. They're going to be cleaning that out this year. And they have 11.5 in Stevens Drain. Now these drains are huge. They're about 6 feet at minimum. So you just think about it. You got a pipe that's like 60 inches or so with all that water coming from the freeway, coming from the roads. It's important to clean these out, and they also look to make sure there's no illicit connections, no septic systems on there, or anybody that can be polluting the lake. So this is another important thing that we want to do. And then also, we mentioned before, but the DPW, they have sandbags. I believe they have about 8,000 sandbags behind the DPW. I know they make them all the time. Maybe we'll have a one-day competition at this year's cleanup, see who can make more sandbags. But we know it works out well there. So we love Lake Sinclair, don't we?
Yes, we do.
All right. Thank you. All right. Well, now we have 2 speakers for you today. This is a great part of it, and I just know Peter just was able to make it here. Here he is. Come on up, sir. And then we're going to have Jan talk about bass fishing. He's out in the audience, too. So, but I ended up running into Peter at the senior center, a couple weeks ago, and I was listening to his program about funding for the roads. And I had to be the guy in the crowd to say, what about all this money going to roads? What are we going to do about, the drains, and how are we going to get funding? And he goes, where are you from? I'm an engineer from the Waterfront Environmental Committee. He goes, so I spoke to him after the committee, and he said, you know what? I want to know what we can do to help you. So I said, Peter, come on to our meeting. Thank you. Come on up here, sir.
Thank you.
There you go. Got that. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Good evening, everyone. My name is Pete Lucido, and I work with Kevin at the Capitol. I grew up in St. Clair Shores, so those of you who don't know me, I grew up on Lakeland Street next to the Dairy Queen. And there was 8 Lucido children, so we had a lot of time to eat a lot of Dairy Queen. So here's the reason I'm here. I just got to give you an update. I heard yesterday about the sampling that was being taken out of the water, and I didn't know. Did we get a result back from the health department? Anybody? Okay, so we still don't know what was in the water. But over the last few years, in 2017 and 18, I did introduce some bills, and it was House Bill 4806. It was to separate the stormwater drain and create a plan to manage the drains. And what happened was, and then there was another one regarding House Bill 6373 to establish regulations on handling the storage and disposal and cleanup of PFAS. So it seems like every time we hit a nerve of something happening in our Great Lakes or our water or something in our community, the first thing that happens is we get a reaction to say, we've got to do something about it. Instead of the ongoing, we've got to do something about it. But I've learned a lot over the years now of being in the legislature that there's places up north that don't even have septic fields. They kind of just have a pipe coming out of the house and it goes right into the river. It's amazing that we have this in the year 2000. It's just amazing. But let me tell you what I did. I took the 2 bills together, and this year I created Senate Bill 194, and I want to talk about that because I think it goes right to the point of what everybody's trying to do. First of all, it creates a water quality alliance and monitoring system. If we don't have an alliance with other communities, I think we're doing the wrong thing. Everybody's got to pitch in, just not St. Clair Shores. I'm talking about all waterfront communities. So it's an alliance. The monitoring system is, it would go ahead and maintain and monitor the water quality for each county. So now we've stepped it up to said from townships, cities, and villages. Let's go from county to county because we need to talk to each other. Collect and share data on the water quality. What's our quality here in St. Clair Shores versus what's our quality to Wayne County? what's our quality to maybe Harrison Township? Is there a difference in the water quality? At the end of the day, we require a notification system of sewage discharge runoff to all communities within the sewage system. Shouldn't we know when there's a sewage runoff system in place to talk about the runoff? Now, we did have we had these sensors in the water, and I don't know, Mark, if you remember, years ago, we used to have sensors in the water, and I know Candace Miller, she did a great job in bringing that money back from Washington to put the sensors in the water, because we've got many, many communities in Canada that could discharge chemicals into our water system. If they discharge the chemicals, how are we to know? It's an honor system right now. It is sad that we don't continue to have those dialogues and bring those things to our communities, because without the Great Lakes being in our backyard, this state would dry up with economic development and economic improvement and economic reality. That's what drives people here. So I want to tell you what my House counterparts are doing. There's House Bills 4389, 4390, 4391. We had this PFAS issue that, came about in Harrison Township, but not only there, but all over the state. And immediately the knee-jerk reaction is, we've got to get money to clean it up. Here we go again, money to clean it up. Well, who caused the problem may not have the money. And as a result, that was Representative Yark and Representative Allard put together this bills about how to handle this PFAS to begin with. So Representative Sue Allard, and she's from the up north community, she said that we need some regulations on, first of all, how we're going to go ahead and design some rules so that we can go ahead and let those rules regulate handling, storage, and disposal of cleanup of PFAS. Does that sound reasonable, everybody? This doesn't sound very difficult, doesn't it? We get somebody from EGLE, it's called, and they combine the DEQ and another department to call it EGLE, and as a result, those rules need to be regulating the handling. So how we handle it, how do we store it, how do we dispose of it, and how do we clean it up? Simple. If we have a set of rules, then we can follow the rules to go ahead, make sure this happens or doesn't happen. But at the end of the day, you can have all the rules you want. If people break the rules, then we end up with the problem here in our own community. And I think all of us sitting here love the water, or we wouldn't be here tonight. So I guess from a standpoint of economic, I know that Candace Miller is waiting for this $3 million grant. Kevin, we are both waiting for this money because you're putting $30 million, KIP, Mayor, into the community to go ahead and have at least a chance to put the overflow into these large bathtubs, I call them, for lack of a better understanding, and so that we have time to clean that water before it's discharged. And that's what this is all about. Yeah, it's a good start. We have 4 communities that's still not separated here in Macomb County. So before I point the finger over to Wayne County or Oakland County or any other county, we have to do our part. I hope that the environmental quality of not only our lake, but our air, as well as all those other things that we enjoy, are really going to make a difference of the people that we are actually serving, but more importantly, the generations that are coming. I've got children, hope to have grandchildren one day, and I'd really like to see a difference made with us now so that we have that opportunity to give to them in the future. I don't have anything else to say. If anybody has any questions specifically, I'll be more than happy to try to answer it. Thank you.
Actually, I do. I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
If you don't mind. Can you, again, I appreciate you coming here. We were trying to talk about, what the city's doing, and you've identified some of these House bills, right? That I want to write them down, and I'm going to try to stick them into this presentation and identify what they are so that the residents of St. Clair Shores can see that. But what of those bills, which one do you think is the most important?
House Senate Bill 194, mine.
No, and that one's for
I'm sorry, was that? Here's what it is. Do we have a real problem or do we not with creating just a water quality alliance? Think of that. people sitting down to do the job that we need done to monitor the systems of our water. That's real simple, guys. If we can't get to there, everything else is going to fail. If we can't monitor, collect the data on the water, and currently decide why is their water different than ours? What are they doing differently? How can we do the same thing they're doing to get our water to that quality?
And as an engineer, I agree with you, okay? Just because we may not like the results, but we want to know the results, right? So that we can fix it, right? Or know what we have to do about it, so.
We have collaborations about anything and everything in the state. Collaborating is one thing, and that's a good idea, to share ideas that benefit each other. But if we don't have a water quality alliance that's looking after each community, sharing those things that we do in our community with others, you're never going to protect the lake. Never.
Good. So is there any other questions out there? I would encourage you to go to, whenever you're speaking at the senior center, it was very educational there too. And
thank you, Mark.
And yes.
Can you just tell us the status of your bill?
Sure. So that's a great question. You know, Lansing, you never know what's going to happen, if a lightning bolt's going to hit it or the whole place is going to turn dark. It's just that way. It's Senator Rick Ottman, and he is the chairman. He had told us to get with counties and to get with MML, Michigan Municipal League, and to get with townships. And let me explain why. There's like 1,200, I don't know the exact number, but it's less than 1,300 townships in the state of Michigan. They rule. There's 300 and some odd villages, 380 something cities. Mayor, you would know better. And there's so many villages that are out there. If the townships support something like this, they will be looking at it saying, you know what, if it's not going to cost us anything and we're going to go into this thing with having a set of rules to begin with to teach each other what we need to know. But to answer your question, we have three stakeholders, and that's what this process is all about in Lansing. You have to get with the stakeholders that hold a stake for the township, cities, and villages, the municipal league, and also the counties. And then at that point there, he says, if they are all on board, or not on board, but at least give me where they are on this and why they are there, we're going to set a hearing. So when I took the two bills and I told you what they were, House Bill 4806 and House Bill 6373, I wanted to make sure that everything could be regulated within one bill to collect data and currently encourage the committee to go forward and indicate what the water quality is, so they have to report. We can look at the metrics of what's going on and how we're improving, or if we're not improving, why. And then the last thing is the required notification system for the runoff. Most of the damages that is done today to our lake is not really the poop, okay? Say it like it is. It's the chemicals. It's the aftermath of all the what do they call that? Weed killer fertilizers and that. That runoff is destroying the water, destroying. And this is not from me. It's engineers that have talked about this. So, if you're not going to have a required notification system of the runoff within the communities, you're defeating the purpose of what we're trying to do. Just saying, as my kids say. Just saying.
I don't think it's really too expensive, quite frankly. Monitoring, it's good data that we know where it's coming from, what we can do with it. So we'll put that information up on our presentation here. So
thank you very much, and I appreciate the time that you've given me this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you don't mind hanging out, we'd love to get a picture with you afterwards.
No problem. I'm sorry I'm late.
Thank you.
The roads are pretty bad.
No problem. We understand that. And this is another thing, we kind of talked about this before. We want to know what the results of this monitoring and the sampling is, because it may be affecting our bass fishing. Do you guys hear me? Bass fishing. John, can you come on up here? Because, I want to know, is there more bass at 13 Mile up the river or down the river at 9? Can you explain it, sir?
We'll talk a little bit about that. So, do you have my presentation?
It's right here.
Awesome.
Just right and left on the side.
Excellent. So my name is Jan Michael Hessenauer. I'm a fisheries research biologist at the Lake St. Clair Fisheries Research Station, part of the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. And like an artsy movie, I'm going to give you the punchline of my talk first. And that is that smallmouth bass populations in Lake St. Clair are at historically good levels. Arguably, they are the best that they've ever been. So I'm going to show you, talk to you a little bit about our station, how we collect the data, and then show you some of that data so you can see for yourself how good we have it right now. So our station was founded in 1966. We are located right where the Clinton River enters Lake St. Clair at the Harley Anson boating access site. And one of the surveys that we do each year since 2002 is a trap net survey up in Anchor Bay. And we do this to monitor the large predators of the lake, including smallmouth bass, northern pike, muskie, yellow perch, and walleye. So this survey started in 1972, just a couple years after our station was founded. Went continuously until 1985, came back for a few years in the mid-90s, and then has been continuing from 2002 to present. So today I'm going to focus on that earlier time frame and then the current time frame. But what's really extraordinary is when you think about the kind of changes that have happened in the lake and in the environment since that time. So we had the Clean Water Act and its revision. We had the introduction of invasive zebra mussels and round gobies. So there's been a lot of changes that have been happening in the environment to weigh kind of the trends that you see over time. So for those of you who aren't familiar, this is what a trap net is. These are pretty big nets. So this is a curtailed diagram here, but this lead is about 300 feet long. The net itself is 6 feet high and about 10 feet deep. Basically what happens is the fish are swimming along and they hit this lead and it directs them into the net. If you look right here, there's a tiny little ring, and that's the actual trap. So once they get through that ring, they have a really hard time finding their way back out. And we can pull our boat up to it and get the fish out and then collect the data from them. So what kind of information do we collect? So here's a big live well of fish. So we're getting fresh lake water. These guys are all alive and happy and well, and we return them to the water that way as well. We measure them, we weigh them, we estimate their age. So if you clip one of the dorsal spines of a smallmouth bass and then you cut it really thin and look at it under a microscope, you see these series of rings, and each one of those rings corresponds to a year of growth. So just like a tree, they lay down rings and you can count them to get a good estimate of how old that fish is. We estimate their sex and maturity if we can, so male and female smallmouth bass don't look different, but in the spring when we're doing it, it's about their spawning time of year, so you can sometimes get a good guess of what is a male and female, and then also how far along they might be. And using this data, we try to understand how the population is doing. So, oh my goodness, this looks a lot different than when I sent it in. But so on this graph, I'm showing you a couple of different things. So first, on the primary y-axis here is the total weight of smallmouth bass that we catch in our trap nets every year, and that corresponds with these blue circles. And you can see that over time, that's essentially flat. So the amount of smallmouth bass in pounds is the same now that it was in 1972. The other data on the other y-axis here is the catch per 24 hours that the trap net is in the water. So how many fish do we catch? And that's declining. So if we're catching fewer fish, but the weight is the same, that means we're catching bigger fish. And that's actually a really good thing. You want, a lot of large individuals compared to a bunch of more small individuals. Another way of looking at that is the change in weight, our average weight of individuals. So from 1972 to 1985, there basically was no trend at all, and the average weight of smallmouth bass was about 1 pound. Since then, since we restarted the survey in 2002, it's skyrocketed to where we're averaging 3.3 pounds for fish. That's incredible, an incredible average for smallmouth bass. When it's just unbelievable. Probably not very many places like that in the whole world. Another way of looking at that is looking at their length. So these are a couple different length classes. So we think anglers prefer to catch fish that are at least 14 inches. We think it's a memorable experience when an angler catches a fish that's 17 inches, and we consider it a trophy, a fish that's over 20 inches. And these are standards for the entire country, so that they're not, I didn't make them up, but they're a good way of looking at the size of smallmouth bass across a large amount of area. So back in the 70s and 80s, we were, catching a relatively small proportion of these. Now almost all of the fish that we catch are 14 inches in size. The number of memorable size fish is skyrocketing, and we're even catching, about 10% of our total catch is a trophy, which is just, again, unbelievable and pretty much unparalleled in the world for smallmouth bass fishing. That's a really good question, and the best guess I have is that it's the fact that most people aren't eating smallmouth bass anymore. So most people like to release them, and it's probably almost largely driven by that change in behavior. So the fact that most people are releasing fish alive is likely letting them live longer and get bigger, and that's. I've been looking for some of the environmental trends like changes in water quality, but by this time and certainly in the later part of the last 10 years, you would have thought that the effects of the invasive species that we had in the early or late 80s and certainly the clean water changes should have already happened. So the fact that it continues to increase is almost certainly just that fish are living longer. So as I said at the beginning, the good times are now. Biomass is steady. There's the same amount of smallmouth bass out there in terms of weight as there was in the 70s, but they're just bigger and larger. So get out there and go fishing and enjoy the incredible resource that we have. With that, if you have any questions or need to contact me later.
I have a question. I'm the one that kind of put his slides up here, and I was looking at this, right? That looks like, how do you know it's a largemouth bass instead of a smallmouth? I mean, that's a small instead of a largemouth bass.
So I don't have any pictures of smallmouth, or of largemouth bass, but they usually have a pretty distinctive dark stripe along their side. Their mouth traditionally goes past the eye. And they also have larger, grittier scales. So a smallmouth bass will feel a lot smoother than a largemouth.
And I know I asked you this question 2 years ago, because I know you were sampling on Lake Clair, right? Mm-hmm. So back about 2 years ago, you were sampling north of 13 Mile. Have you been doing more sampling south, near St. Clair shores, or what have you been doing there?
So all the trap netting happens in Anchor Bay, and that's because that's where we've always trap netted, so that gives us the best continuous data set. We do electrofishing down, we do a lot. We launch here at 11 Mile at a time and tag a bunch of fish right out here each spring as well. So we're all over.
Well, we'd like to know what, near our city, what's happening. So if you can maybe send me an email or something, our committee, we'd love it.
Sure.
All right. Well, thank you, John.
Yeah, no problem.
Much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now we're going to do the scholarships with Heidi. Come on, Heidi. We have 8 more minutes. So just hang with us. We're winding down here.
Hi. This committee has been very fortunate to have very generous donors so that we can offer the $500 scholarships to high school seniors who either live in St. Clair Shores and or go to school in St. Clair Shores. The students must participate in the projects of the St. Clair Shores Waterfront Environmental Committee and also answer several environmental questions. This year we have 5 outstanding students who will receive scholarships as a result of donations from State Representative Kevin Hertel, Daniel and Anthony Cuvier, Lac St. Clair Kiwanis Club, and the St. Clair Shores Lions Club. The students will have about a minute to share some thoughts on environmental issues and volunteering. We also have a special presentation from Tom Cleaver of the We Are Here Foundation. Tom, do you want to come up? Tom has been very generous with the We Are Here Foundation. He has 5 Apple iPads that he will be presenting to the 5 scholarship winners. The We Are Here Foundation has been a very important donor for this committee since its inception. There were a number of years when the We Are Here Foundation contributed all the scholarship funding. This charity takes the donation of used boats and cars, refurbishes them, and then forwards the profits to clean the lake shoreline while at the same time educating students. All the boat and car donations are tax deductible. So if you have a donation, see Tom. They're always accepting donations. Kevin Hertel, could you come up? Oh, there you are. Hi. Kevin, I don't know if they introduced you or not, but represents the 18th District, including the communities of East Point, St. Clair Shores, and part of the village of Grosse Pointe Shores. He has been a longtime member of this committee and has been very active in our committee projects. And we're very fortunate to have him to keep us apprised of the actions of the State House as they relate to environmental issues in Michigan and St. Clair Shores. And he's been donating scholarships since 2016. Would you like to introduce Rebecca Dick?
I'd be happy to.
Okay.
Is Rebecca here? Come on up, Rebecca. So this is one of my favorite things to do in my capacity as state representative, mainly because I've been on this committee, as I said before, since 2010, and it's so near and dear to my heart. But I think one of the most important things that this committee does is help educate the youth in our community about the importance of Lake St. Clair and why it's so important that we must protect it. You know, everything that Senator Lucido said about it being so important to our economy here in Macomb County, but also just our way of life here in Macomb County. Right? I was very fortunate when I grew up. My dad had a little boat, and I fell in love with Lake St. Clair, and I'm trying to teach those same activities to my 2.5-year-old son now, and I want to make sure that we preserve it for future generations. So as we work to educate folks and the youth across our community about Lake St. Clair and what everybody can do in this city to protect that resource, this is incredible because we have students who get active with our community, right? And they do the work. They show up, they take initiative, they volunteer for our events. So Rebecca plans on attending Wayne State University with a major in political science. Will we see your name on the ballot someday?
Maybe.
All right. We need great people to run for office. A minor in pre-law. She hopes to become a criminal defense attorney and aspires to become a circuit court judge. She has participated in the foreign exchange program at Lakeshore by completing a 2-week foreign exchange trip in China, Spain, Italy, and Germany. So I want to congratulate Rebecca, for your work, and thank you for your work on behalf of the committee, and I'm proud to present this scholarship to you.
Thank
I know you'll go on and do great things.
Thank you.
Are you going to give a speech? All right.
Hi, so I'm Rebecca, and I'm a senior at Lakeshore High School, and I was actually introduced to the St. Clair Shores Waterfront Environmental Committee through one of my biology teachers freshman year, where she showed me about the nautical coast cleanup, and I attended because, I'm not going to lie, she offered extra credit for it, but I actually continue to go throughout many of the years because seeing the beaches after the before and after pictures of what you become really helps you become involved in your community and want to help others, because one of the sayings that I like to live by is like the generations, they're not going to miss the beaches or the shorelines or the water or the wildlife until we don't have it anymore. So committees like these really help us keep our Lake St. Clair Shores known for their lake. It makes us keep it clean, and it really helps me. And I think that inspiring like future generations and the students that attend the schools in St. Clair Shores is really important.
It's funny to make you take that check to the bank.
We'll get them later. Oh, the iPad, yes.
I didn't know that was my job.
Well, sorry. Great.
The iPads are a special surprise,
Yes.
so a bonus. Thank you,
Our
Mr.
next
Cleaver.
donor is from the St. Clair Shores Lions Club. Chuck Balestri, would you come up here, please? Chuck was telling me the other day about the initiatives of the Lions. Most of us know about the Vision and Hearing, but they also, part of their initiative is humanitarian outreach, community action, and civic pride. They recently gave grants to St. Clair Shores teachers, and also environmental action. So they've been very active. They were sandbagging during our Nautical Coast cleanup in May, and they've been attending our meetings, and they're donating a scholarship here. And they've also been purchasing trees for St. Clair Shores. And the St. Clair Shores Lions is sponsoring the scholarship for Jennifer Laukonis. Could you come up here, please? Jennifer. I'd like to introduce Jennifer.
Yes. Hello, everybody. This is Jennifer Laukonis. Jennifer is a student at Lakeview High School. She has volunteered with the storm drain stenciling throughout the city and the Belle Isle spring cleanups. She is a historian of the Lakeview chapter of the National Honor Society and secretary of the Student Council. She is a writer for the Lakeview Husky newspaper and is a committee member of YouTuber. No, I'm sorry. Anyway, she has her own YouTube page. What is it called, Jennifer?
Jen's Crazy Life.
Yeah, Jen's Crazy Life. I viewed it. It was a lot of fun to watch. She has over 32,000 subscribers. So she has earned the highly coveted academic letter and the lamp for learning and the silver bar for exceptional academic scores. And as part of the application process, she shows a passion for environmental action and just believes that we need a cleaner environment. And because of that, St. Clair Shores Lions would like to grant her a $500 scholarship for her passion and her efforts.
So I like to thank the committee for their efforts in conserving Lake St. Clair. It's very important not only for the species that are suffering, but for us so that we can actually go on our lakes. And one of my ideas to help gain awareness is to pass out flyers during events like the Memorial Day Parade, basically inviting people to an event to help protect St. Clair, Lake St. Clair, and then also have rewards like raffle prizes, and maybe even pay a couple of water bills as an incentive to get people out and learning about how to help Lake St. Clair. So thank you very much for the scholarship, and I really appreciate it.
Our next donor is the Loch St. Clair Kiwanis Club, Brian Mazie. The president will make the next scholarship presentation. Kiwanis is a global service organization founded in Detroit on January 21st, 1915. So this week it is 105 years old. Kiwanis is dedicated to improving the world one child and one community at a time. And they sure do a good job in our community. Loch St. Clair Kiwanis has a number of great events such as the Lunch with Santa and Kids Day on the Farm. Our environmental committee is also a corporate member of Loch St. Clair Kiwanis Club. We are so fortunate to have such great service organizations in St. Clair Shores. Jessica Schneider is the recipient of this scholarship. Jessica is from Lakeview High School. She has volunteered at the Nautical Coast Cleanup, a cleanup at Community Garden at the Civic Arena, and has been attending the meetings of the Waterfront Environmental Committee. And she's also agreed to be our student liaison from Lakeview. She has challenged herself by taking advanced placement courses, honors, and Wayne State University classes. Jessica has been a class officer in student council, is a member of the Math Honor Society, and participates on the school softball team. Would you like to say a couple words?
Sure. It's like she said, I'm grateful to be able to be a part of the committee now as the student liaison. And one of the things I wrote about in my application was that I'm passionate about educating and like raising awareness. And so I'm glad that the committee can help me be a part of that. And hopefully I can help raise more awareness within my school and just community in general.
You get that cash, you'll be doing good.
Daniel Cuvier is the next donor. Actually, he and his brother I think you probably talked about yourself a little bit before. He and his brother are, Anthony, are Lakeview graduates, and he had an adventure in 2018, a 5-month, more than 200-mile walk for water quality on the Appalachian Trail from Georgia to Maine. They made this trek a fundraiser so that they could sponsor these scholarships. And Dan has also recently applied to become a member of this committee. Trevian Wolf, could you come up here, please? Trevian is from South Lake High School. And he plans to attend college and then go to medical school in order to help as many people as possible. Trevian has been a link leader for incoming freshmen, helping them to effectively transition to high school. He has attended several leadership workshops and has shared this training with other students. He has been an essential member of the school's National Honor Society and has always been able to maintain outstanding grades, along with being a tremendous two-sport athlete. He's captain of the football team and the basketball team. Would you like to say a couple words?
Yes, I will. I'm a senior at South Lake High School. One of the main reasons that I did participate in the waterfront cleanup is when I saw how bad it was. Like, the outside, like, it was just like, it was construction everywhere, it was trash everywhere, dead animals everywhere. So I feel like, I know me personally, I don't want to drink no nasty water. So I feel like I should have went out there. I got to do what I got to do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Our next recipient is Jada Pickett. Could you come up here, Jada? Jada is also from South Lake High School, and Daniel's brother Anthony is the sponsor of this scholarship. Jada volunteered for the Nautical Coast Cleanup and storm drain stenciling, and she continues to give back to the South Lake community by serving on student council, leadership, and the National Honor Society. She has advanced herself since her freshman year by taking advanced placement courses and is a student in the early College of Macomb, where she takes classes at Macomb Community College while also enrolled in high school. Would you like to say a couple words?
Yes. Hello, my name is Jada. I attend South Lake High School, and I was first introduced with the environmental committee by my teacher, Miss Ashburn. And I think, like, personally, it's very good to raise awareness in order to get your peers to be involved with the community. And not only was, I think, I just lost my train of thought. But it's very important to raise awareness and get everyone involved. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Heidi. You did a great job there. Thank you, scholarship winners. And just in closing, this is the reason why we give out scholarships. We got great donors that provide it because we want to inspire our children to be able to take over and be excited and stay with us. Like my daughter, she's coming back helping us out from college, and you can learn a lot. I know Jessica, she's inspiring to get more environmental sciences, so I'm really glad she's involved with our committee. You can learn a lot of great ideas. And again, all our resource members are awesome. We appreciate you all. We appreciate everybody from council and from the DPW and from the schools. Serious, that's how it all starts, and that's how we all grow together to make St. Clair Shores a fun, friendly, waterfront living community. So thank you all. Have a safe night home.